Okay, so it all started last month when I was in San Francisco. Literally everywhere I went, the talk of the town was this miracle drug that is making people lose their weight just like this. They called it
GLP-1 weight loss drugs.
Weight loss drug.
Weight loss drug.
Ozempic has exploded in popularity as both a diabetes and a weight loss drug.
Without this medication, I never would have gotten here on my own.
Now, it's supposed to be a prescription drug meant to help with diabetes, but they were pushing it like candy in the US. I mean, someone literally came and handed me a pamphlet for it at a convenience store. Now, at first I thought it's probably just a passing trend in the US, right? But then rumors started popping up in Bollywood that every other celebrity is hooked on to the drug. Many of them had suddenly lost a lot of weight and transformed themselves just like that. Most denied using it, but some came forward and admitted it.
कोई अगर ओजेम्पिक करे उसमें नेगेटिव क्या है? It's madness. ओजेम्पिक लिया हाँ तो क्या हुआ?
Now I know it sounds too good to be true, which is why I dug in to find out who profits from it, why is it that food and beverage companies are panicking, and most importantly, what the dangerous side effects of using this drug are. So let me take you through the good, the bad, and the ugly, because soon you're going to be seeing it everywhere. You see, as a society, we've kind of turned weight into this moral scoreboard of sorts. Thin equals disciplined, fat equals lazy or no self-control. That's the narrative that's generally pushed by our neighbors, auntie, uncles, relatives. And you know what? The marketing teams of all these healthy foods industry and the fitness industry provides them with a lot of supplementary material. But the problem is, none of these people seem to really understand the human body. They don't know that obesity can be a vicious battle between your mind and your body. They don't get that the script is always the same. Initially, your mind is determined. So the first month, you work hard, control your diet, and you feel a glimmer of hope once the weight drops. Month 2, your hard work starts to pay lesser dividends, and by the third month, your mind is challenged to a deadly duel by the body. Suddenly, the body is more tired than before, more hungry than ever, more cranky, and more obsessed with food. Now, sometimes this happens because when people suddenly lose a lot of weight, the body fights back. Hunger hormones go up and full hormones go down. Your body literally starts burning fewer calories per day than you'd expect for your new size, like it's quietly lowering your metabolic thermostat to get you back to your old weight. Now, there are a lot of outliers who don't experience this, but for people fighting obesity, it's a long uphill battle. Now, combine this biology with the world we actually live in. Ultra-processed foods on every corner, jobs, travel, and doom scrolling that keeps you sitting 14 to 16 hours a day, family culture where eat more beta equals love. Clearly, a lot of people have it bad. And that's exactly why this miracle drug, Ozempic, took off. You see, patients weren't just seeing better blood sugar, they were coming back 5, 10, 15 kilos lighter, and a lot of them shared the same thing. They said that they finally felt in control. The noise in their head was gone. The constant nagging of what I should eat next, what's being cooked next, what's for dinner, lunch, all of it silenced. And along with it, even the guilt and shame they felt was slowly healing. Interestingly, this is also where our story starts today. It's the 1990s. We're in the Sonoran Desert, home of the Gila Monster. This slow, beady-eyed, venomous lizard only eats maybe 3 or 4 times a year, but when it does, it feasts. Giant eggs for appetizers, baby rabbits for main course, and much smaller lizards for dessert. A giant caloric hit once, and then it's done for months. A researcher named Dr. John Eng became obsessed with this lizard and a simple question: why the hell does it not starve and die? Why was its blood sugar not haywire? So he dug in, analyzed the lizard's venom, and that's when he found a hormone. It's called exendin 4. It looked suspiciously like a hormone humans already make, that's GLP-1 or glucagon-like peptide 1. You see, when you eat, human GLP-1 is one of the little messengers your gut sends out. It helps release insulin and calm down on the sugar dump. So it slows down your digestion speed so that you feel full for longer, and it tells your brain, hey listen, you're full, reject the warm eyes of your grandmother asking you to take one more serving. The problem though, this human GLP-1 is fragile. It survives in your bloodstream for about 2 minutes, then it's gone. The lizard's version on the other side, it hangs around for hours. So Dr. Eng realized that if he could synthesize the hormone into a drug, he can help people with the type 2 diabetes to control their blood sugar effectively. So he took the idea to Big Pharma, faced a bunch of rejections and verbal abuse until finally a small company called Amylin Pharmaceuticals took a chance on him. They developed a human-safe version and turned it into one of the first GLP-1 drugs for diabetes. And it worked. Sort of. You had to inject it a lot. The process was a bit tedious. The efficacy also was only such that the drug took the world by a drizzle. But interestingly, that is when Denmark walked in. You see, Denmark is not a place you associate with revolutions. It's a small, peaceful, highly taxed country with lots and lots of bicycles. But it has a secret weapon. A pharmaceutical company called Novo Nordisk. Now, Novo Nordisk looked at this lizard-inspired biology and said, okay, what if we make GLP-1 mimic drugs that last a week instead of a few hours? They engineered a molecule called semaglutide, 1 weekly injection, long-acting GLP-1 mimic. They launched it in 2017 as Ozempic for diabetics, and then at a higher dose as Wegovy specifically for weight loss. In clinical trials, patients on Wegovy plus lifestyle changes lost around 15% of their body weight on average. Some lost even 20% or more. The placebo group, on the other hand, barely hit 2 to 3%. Now, that is not I cut sugar in my chai wala weight loss. That's bariatric surgery territory without surgery. Then American giant Eli Lilly entered with tirzepatide, brand names Mounjaro and Zepbound, which mimics not just GLP-1 but another hormone called GIP. In trials, people lost upward of 20% of their body weight. Now, if you combine this efficacy with Denmark's health system, Denmark did something very un-American. It started covering the cost of these drugs widely for people with obesity and heart disease. Not as a vanity tool, but as a cardiovascular intervention. One huge trial called SELECT followed over 17,000 overweight or obese adults with heart diseases but no diabetes. Those on semaglutide had about a 20% lower risk of major cardiac events, heart attacks, strokes, cardiovascular deaths than those on placebo. Now, there are a lot of side effects as well. We are going to get to them later, so stay till the end. Early data from Denmark now suggests drops in diabetes complications, fewer heart problems, fewer obesity-related surgeries. Health economists estimate that for every krone spent on GLP-1 drugs for high-risk patients, multiple kroner may be spent in future healthcare costs. Remember our lizard? Its venom has now helped create a company so valuable that Novo Nordisk's market cap has at points surpassed the entire GDP of Denmark. Yep, one company worth more than the country that hosts it. Now, while Denmark is using this lizard spit to quietly bend its health curves, India is sitting on a completely different problem. But before I get to that, I need to interrupt the story, but stay with me, this is gonna come in handy. We want to thank Odoo, our partner for this video, as they helped bring the story to life. Odoo is an all-in-one enterprise management app that helps you meet all your business needs, be it invoicing, website creation, inventory management, or creating an online store. In the last few years, I've seen a lot of people starting online businesses, and a big problem all of them faced was in creating an online store. Maybe due to lack of budget or technical knowledge. So if you're someone who's facing the same challenge, then you need to check out Odoo's e-commerce builder. With this tool, you don't need to worry about having any technical skills. All you need to do is pick your objective and business type for your online store, choose the color palette or build one from your logo, add in the pages and features, and lastly pick one of the 3 themes, and you can start with customizing your online store by simply dragging and dropping blocks. To add in your products, just click on New and then Product, then add in the description and price, and your product page is live. You can choose and add images of the product and description to add more flavor to your online store. But the best part? You don't have to pay anything to start because Odoo's first app is free for life with unlimited hosting and support and a free personalized domain name for the first year. So check out Odoo for all your business needs. Now back to the video. You see, as Indians, we deal with something called skinny fat. It's hypothesized as a byproduct of colonial resource theft because our ancestors dealt with being overworked, underfed, and a patriarchal system that caused maternal undernutrition to impact their babies. Even with the same BMI as Europeans, South Asians tend to carry more fat and less lean muscle around certain organs. Now, I have a feeling that we low-key may have created the dad bod archetype, but this body type gets layered with a 80% carb-heavy diet, sugar sprinkled onto every dish, and a culture that's increasingly stationary, which has now led to one of the largest diabetic populations in the world. Additionally, we also have rising obesity and undernutrition coexisting simultaneously better than religious groups do. This is definitely not good news. We are seeing heart attacks impact people who are in their 40s and 30s now. Basically, we're the exact target demographic for a drug that lowers blood sugar or lowers obesity. So enter
The popular diabetes drug that some are using for weight loss.
Stories of dramatic weight loss plastered all over social media.
It appears to have broad benefit across a variety of behavioral addictions as well as drug-based addictions.
If you feel like being in a bigger body is great, that is beautiful.
It's disappointing to sad to know that body positivity was all a big lie because it's better to not be overweight.
Now, it should have and could have been a game changer, except for one issue. Actually, not one issue, two. First is the price, and second is the multitude of side effects. So in the US, a month of Ozempic or Wegovy can list around $900 to $1,300 without insurance. In India, when GLP-1 drugs like semaglutide and tirzepatide launched, monthly costs landed in the $15,000 to $25,000 range depending on dose and brand. So what's happening right now is kind of a medical apartheid. Now in South Mumbai and South Delhi, people are using GLP-1 to lose 5 kilos before a wedding, whereas in smaller towns, diabetics who actually need these drugs are struggling to afford basic insulin. But remember one thing, India has one superpower Denmark does not. India is the pharmacy of the world. As patents expire, Indian pharma is already sprinting to make generic semaglutide. In fact, analysts expect that once robust generics hit, price could drop dramatically, sometimes by 60 to 90% versus original brand pricing, like we have seen with other drugs. That basically means that in a few years, the same shot that currently costs 15 to 20,000 rupees could be available for less than 1 to 2,000 rupees a month. Maybe lesser even. Now imagine a government scheme that gives generic GLP-1 to the poorest diabetic patients for free. Dialysis wards emptier, fewer amputations, fewer heart attacks. Now I know on paper, it sounds like magic, like we finally got a cheat code for one of India's biggest health crises. Except, this will kind of act as a prelude for a much larger scale battle between two mammoth industries. Because what happens is, Ozempic leads to people eating a lot less. Reports say it's a 20 to 30% cut down of calories, most of which are aimed at processed foods and drinks. Which is to say that giant F&B brands are gonna take a massive hit on their profits. In fact, this is already happening in America. Now, given that they spent decades engineering hyper-palatable addictive foods that hijack your brain, they may try to resist this innovation. So you have Team Walmart, Team Nestle's going up against another behemoth, that's the pharmaceutical industry, consisting of heavy hitters like Sun Pharma, Cipla, Zydus, and many more. Now, I'm not sure who's winning, but analysts project that GLP-1 drugs could become a $100 billion annual market globally within a few years. Unfortunately, what's caught between this epic war is regular people, desperate to just get healthier, and a lot of them deal with a lack of awareness. Which is why it's time for us to ask, what is this drug actually doing inside you and at what cost? Now let's zoom all the way into the molecular world. First, you inject semaglutide, synthetic GLP-1 mimic, under your skin. Now for the next week, that molecule sits in your blood acting like a highly paid bouncer of sorts. It gets your pancreas to release more insulin, then it reduces glucagon, the hormone that raises blood sugar. It then slows the stomach's gastric emptying process. Slower digestion helps you feel full for longer. And finally, it binds to GLP-1 receptors in the areas of your brain that control appetite and reward, and it makes you stop craving as much or at all, really. That's the good part now. The not so fun fine print is when you stop taking the medication, your biology remembers the old you. Multiple studies have shown that after discontinuing semaglutide, patients regain a large chunk of the weight they've lost, often about 2/3 within a year. So no, this is not a 3-month detox, it's a temporary fixer that goes away when you stop paying its fees, which is music to the ears of pharma executives because they get to sell a lifetime subscription and the fee is nearly 20,000 rupees a month. But even that's not the scariest part because GLP-1 receptors aren't just in your hunger circuitry, they are scattered across your brain and body. And when you master the system like that, you don't just get weight loss, you get side effects.
Type 2 diabetes?
Discover the Ozempic Trizone. My Ozempic.
Now just look at this Ozempic advertisement and the side effects they are legally forced to list out to stay out of trouble.
Ozempic isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't take Ozempic if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or if allergic to it.
Yeah, so these are some of the obvious symptoms and honestly they're reported to be mild and often fade as the dose slowly escalates. But that's not all, is it?
Stop Ozempic and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction.
Now these are some of the more problematic side effects, reported only in a few users, but dangerous nonetheless, and this is not the end either.
Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes.
Yeah, now you think it's done, but there's more.
Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
Okay, we're done. That's, I think we could do a 20-minute video to cover each of these side effects. If at all you are considering this drug, you need to remember that the drug partly works by slowing your stomach, but in some people, it slows too much and causes long-term gastroparesis or stomach paralysis. The food just literally sits there for hours or days. People literally end up in ERs vomiting meals they ate long ago. Now there's also a black box warning about thyroid C-cell tumors based on rodent data. We don't have the clear long-term human data yet. Obesity itself also raises thyroid cancer risk, so the signal is kind of messy. Oh, also, up to 40% of weight loss can be lean mass, not fat, muscle, which is manageable for a 25-year-old, but for a 60-year-old for whom their remaining muscle is essentially a life insurance, it could prove near fatal. So, you know the bad. But after digging deeper, there's a bit more. A few weird side effects that have been reported. So people on GLP-1 drugs started posting things like, I stopped craving alcohol. I'm not doom scrolling shopping apps anymore. I stopped biting my nails. You see, what's happening is when you mess with the reward circuitry, you don't just quiet food, you may quiet other compulsions that piggyback on the same dopamine symptoms. And maybe that doesn't sound too bad until you hear that some users report something darker. Anhedonia, that's basically the inability to feel pleasure. Food doesn't excite them, but neither does music, hobbies. Life just kind of feels flat for them. Now, we don't have solid incidence numbers yet. It may be a small minority, but it forces a very uncomfortable question. If you had to choose between a life where you're overweight but feel tired normally and a life where you're thin but everything feels muted, which one is actually a better way to live? You see, we're not just negotiating with scale here. We're also somewhere negotiating with what actually makes a meaningful life. And while we're doing that, the rest of the economy is rearranging itself around this injection. But just be careful. When such an industry emerges on the backs of vulnerable and often desperate people, opportunists corrupt the same economy in insidious ways. There are many websites surfacing with vials labeled semaglutide research peptide not for human use shipped from mystery factories. Many of them are scams where the product never arrives. Others were random falsified substances that could send you to the bathroom, the ER, or heaven directly. So, where does that leave you? Now, you might be someone who has struggled with obesity your entire life, tried everything, and GLP-1 drugs finally gave you a body that feels livable and lab results that don't terrify your doctor. If that's you, I'm not here to shame you. Honestly, I'm glad something exists that works. You don't know anybody an explanation. But you might also be someone who is tempted to take this because your friend lost 15 kilos, your timeline is full of miracle stories, and you are thinking of this as a quick aesthetic fix. If that is you, again, I'm not here to judge you either. It's your body, your choice. I'm just someone who's really curious about what's happening around this drug and here to share everything I could find. I'm not a medical practitioner, so please do not take any of this as medical advice. Do your own research to make an informed choice always. But if after all the research you do, you still decide to take this, I do want you to know the choice that you're actually making. You're not just choosing to lose weight, you are choosing a weekly injection, possibly for years. Side effects that might be non-existent, mild, permanent, or in rare cases, fatal. You see, all drugs react with all bodies differently. There's also a very high risk of regaining all the weight you lost if you stop. You see, science is fascinating, but nature is also very, very brutal. We are still collecting long-term data on this. There are complications we don't fully understand yet. So you are literally choosing to participate in an experiment that's happening in real time at global scale. And you know what? As a society, we're also choosing something bigger with this drug. Do we actually want a future where the solution to a broken food system is a needle? Where instead of regulating junk food marketing to kids, redesigning cities for movement, making real food cheaper and accessible, we just tell people, here's your weekly injection, you'll eat less, problem solved. I think that GLP-1 drugs, yeah, they can be a tool, they can buy time, they can reduce suffering, especially for people already deep into diabetes and heart diseases and struggle with obesity, but they are not a substitute for fixing the environment that made so many of us sick in the first place. It's kind of like your house is on fire and instead of putting out the flames, someone sells you a very expensive fireproof jacket. Great, yeah, you don't burn, but the house is still gone. So now you know that behind Ozempic lies a very real medical breakthrough, a very powerful business model, a very lopsided global system of who gets access to health, and a very deep philosophical question about what we think bodies should be. The age of obesity might be ending, or we might just be entering the age of Ozempic economy, a world where thinness, like so many other things, is something you can rent if you can afford the monthly fee. Now, I'm not gonna tell you how to go about facing this challenge, that's your call. I just wish for it to be an informed call is all. I interrupt this segment to share some important news with all of you. So, 2.5 years ago, we started a video editing school around the thesis that video editing and content creation are going to become long-term viable careers because as products become easier to build, distribution will become the moat, and people who know how to build distribution will have a lot of leverage. As of now, we have trained 3,500 students, and turns out somewhere our thesis was right. Don't take my word for it, check this out.
Like, I'm quite sure you also talk to your friends and family. And
sure.
Definitely you talk about your career.
Yeah.
So what is that conversation like now about?
It's very different now.
What it's changed?
Since I'm a cinematographer, I've gotten the opportunity to meet various founders. Biggest example is Satya Nadella.
Seriously, we work with these brands. We worked with like Nvidia. We work with Google.
वीडियो क्रिएशन का वो वाला पार्ट की ये बात शुरू हुई थी एक ऑफिस में कॉन्वर्सेशन से, एंड नाउ इट हैज so and so million views of it, कमेंट्स आते हैं. तो आई थिंक दैट डोपामाइन हिट मेक्स मी want to come to office every day.
Parents, if you talk to my friends, they have seen it. Everyone's called content right now. They've seen the work.
I am really happy. Every day I wake up and like, I'm going to do something creative.
Not just the folks you saw just now, there are more. So yes, editing and making videos is a viable career option in 2025. You know, from creators to companies, you will see everyone is looking for an editor, a video producer, motion designer, and a lot more new roles in Gen AI and content economy, which are just emerging. I'm not exaggerating. We have more recruiters than students sitting for placements as of now and getting packages higher than engineering colleges. So if you're a student, a job seeker, someone who is looking to get into this industry, we can help. We're doing a free masterclass where we break down everything about editing, video making, and a lot more. So check it out. It's absolutely free. And more importantly, it might help you pick up some useful content skills that can help with your career anyway. Putting the link in description. See you there.